Everyone thinks social media is the shortcut to wealth and fame, but it's a trap. Algorithms manipulate your ambition, attention turns into stress, and viral success can destroy your freedom faster than it builds it. Discover the hidden system keeping you busy, exhausted, and chasing likes instead of real life. For the first time in history, success is no longer something you quietly build. It is something you publicly perform. Open any social media platform and you're instantly surrounded by people who appear to be winning. Perfect lifestyles, exotic travel, luxury apartments, six-figure businesses, morning routines at 5 a.m., gym bodies, productivity hacks, viral growth charts. It feels like everyone is ahead of you. This constant exposure does something subtle but powerful. It reshapes your definition of success. Success used to mean stability, competence, and long-term achievement. Now it often means visibility. If it cannot be posted, liked, shared, or validated, it feels less real. Social media has quietly replaced substance with optics. The highlight reel becomes the benchmark. And without realizing it, millions of people begin chasing what looks impressive instead of what is actually valuable. The trap begins with comparison. Human psychology was never designed to compare itself to millions of people at once. In small communities, comparison was limited. Today, you scroll through curated snapshots of the top 1% of outcomes across the globe. Algorithms amplify extremes, not averages. You're not seeing normal progress. You're seeing exceptional moments, filtered and optimized for engagement. The result is predictable. Ordinary life starts to feel inadequate. A steady job feels boring. Slow growth feels like failure. Quiet progress feels invisible. You begin to question yourself, not because you are failing, but because your reference point has been distorted. But comparison is only the first layer of the trap. The second layer is monetized aspiration. Social media platforms are not neutral environments. They're businesses. The revenue depends on attention. The longer you stay, the more ads you see. The more you desire, the more you consume. Influencers are not simply documenting their lives. Many are selling a lifestyle. Courses, coaching programs, affiliate links, digital products, brand sponsorships. The appearance of effortless success often hides a carefully constructed sales funnel. The image is aspirational by design. You're meant to feel slightly behind, slightly inadequate, slightly curious about how they did it, because curiosity converts into clicks, and clicks convert into revenue. Over time, you may start believing that the fastest way to wealth is visibility. That going viral is a shortcut, that attention equals success. This is where the illusion deepens. Attention is not the same as income. Followers are not the same as ownership. Virality is not the same as stability. For every creator who breaks through, thousands quietly burn out. What you rarely see are the abandoned channels, the inconsistent income months, the algorithm changes that cut reach in half overnight. Platforms control distribution. One update can erase years of momentum. Building your entire identity or financial plan on borrowed platforms creates fragility disguised as opportunity. There is also a psychological cost. When your output is measured in likes and comments, self-worth can become entangled with engagement metrics. A post that underperforms feels personal. A drop in views feels like rejection. Creativity shifts from expression to optimization. Instead of asking, is this meaningful? You begin asking, will this perform? This constant performance mindset erodes intrinsic motivation. You're no longer building because you care. You're building because you want validation. The dopamine cycles of notifications mimic reward systems found in gambling environments. Small, unpredictable spikes of approval keep you checking, posting, refreshing. Meanwhile, real skill development, the kind that compounds quietly over years, often feels too slow to showcase. Mastery is rarely viral. Long-term investing is rarely viral. Deep work is rarely viral. But these are the foundations of durable success. The social media success trap convinces you that speed matters more than depth, that aesthetics matter more than economics, and that public recognition matters more than private stability. It tempts you to optimize for applause instead of assets. This does not mean social media is inherently harmful. It can create opportunity, connection, and leverage. But the trap emerges when the platform defines your ambition instead of supporting it. Ask yourself a simple question. If nobody could see your progress for 5 years, would you still pursue the same goals? If the answer changes, the algorithm may already be influencing your direction. True success is often quiet. It compounds in bank accounts, skill sets, and relationships long before it appears impressive online. It is built in obscurity, refined without applause, and protected from volatility. The danger is not social media itself. The danger is mistaking visibility for value. And once that confusion takes root, you may find yourself chasing an image of success that looks powerful on a screen, but feels empty in real life. This is how the trap begins. Behind every viral post, trending sound, and recommended video is an invisible system making decisions for you. Not moral decisions, not human decisions, mathematical ones. The algorithm's only objective is retention. It does not care about your growth, your stability, or your mental health. It cares about keeping you scrolling. And slowly, without you noticing, it begins shaping what you want. The algorithm studies behavior at scale, what people click, what they pause on, what they replay, what makes them angry, what makes them jealous, what makes them dream. It amplifies whatever triggers emotion because emotion extends attention. Calm, balanced, nuanced content rarely wins. Intensity wins, drama wins, extremes win. So what gets shown to you most often? Overnight success stories, explosive income screenshots, quit your job at 23 narratives, luxury lifestyles framed as normal, rapid transformations. Not because they represent reality, but because they hold attention. Over time, repetition creates normalization. What was once exceptional begins to feel standard. 1 million followers become ordinary. 6 figures become entry level. Early retirement becomes expected. You adjust your internal baseline upward again and again until your own steady progress feels insufficient. This is how ambition gets hijacked. Instead of asking, what aligns with my strengths? You start asking, what performs well? Instead of building durable skills, you chase trends. Instead of designing a sustainable path, you optimize for reach. The algorithm rewards novelty and speed, but wealth rewards patience and consistency. These incentives are not aligned. A creator might spend years building a craft that compounds slowly, coding, investing, writing deeply researched work, but those activities often lack immediate engagement spikes. Meanwhile, reactive commentary, controversy, and surface-level motivation spread rapidly. The platform does not reward difficulty, it rewards reaction. So people adapt. They compress complexity into digestible sound bites. They exaggerate, they simplify, they dramatize. Not always maliciously, sometimes just to survive within the system. But each adaptation moves further from substance and closer to spectacle. And here's where the trap tightens. Once your identity becomes tied to metrics, you cannot easily step away. Views fluctuate, engagement shifts, platforms update. What worked last month stops working today. This instability creates anxiety. You post more. You experiment more aggressively. You chase what the data seems to favor. Gradually, you're no longer leading your ambition. You are reacting to it. The algorithm becomes your silent business partner, except it owns the distribution. You do not control the feed. You do not control visibility. You do not control reach. You are building on rented land. Historically, durable wealth was created through ownership. Ownership of equity, property, intellectual property, businesses. Social media offers leverage, but rarely ownership. 1 million followers can disappear with a policy change. A monetization feature can be removed overnight. Entire platforms have declined within a few years. Yet many people structure their financial dreams around virality. This creates fragility disguised as opportunity. There is also a subtler psychological effect. The algorithm personalizes your feed. It learns what triggers you and delivers more of it. If you engage with luxury content, you will see more luxury. If you interact with hustle culture, you will see more extreme productivity. Your worldview narrows. You assume everyone is moving faster than you because your feed is engineered to display acceleration. It becomes difficult to distinguish between what is statistically common and what is algorithmically amplified. Ambition shifts from being internally guided to externally stimulated. You start pursuing goals because they are visible, not because they are meaningful. You measure your timeline against curated peaks. You equate attention with validation. And in the process, long-term strategic thinking erodes. Real success often requires delayed gratification, investing steadily, building relationships, compounding skills, accepting slow seasons. The algorithm punishes slow seasons. It favors constant output, constant relevance, constant performance. But humans are not machines optimized for infinite production. When your ambition is constantly compared, constantly measured, and constantly fed by external metrics, it becomes unstable. You feel pressure to accelerate even when acceleration is unnecessary. You pivot prematurely. You abandon projects before they compound. The irony is that the algorithm is not intentionally targeting you. It is simply optimizing for engagement. But optimization at scale creates side effects at the individual level. It amplifies insecurity. It distorts timelines. It inflates expectations. It compresses patience. And eventually, you may wake up chasing goals that are not truly yours. That is the deeper cost of the social media success trap. Not just wasted time, not just inconsistent income, but outsourced ambition. When the system decides what looks valuable and you unconsciously adapt to match it, you're no longer designing your path. You are responding to incentives engineered to capture your attention. The algorithm does not need to control you directly. It only needs to influence what you see. And over time, that shapes what you believe is possible, necessary, and urgent. That is how it owns your ambition. By the time someone recognizes the algorithm's influence, another belief has usually taken root, that social media is the fastest path to financial freedom. It looks efficient, low barrier to entry, no physical inventory, no office, just a phone, an internet connection, and consistency. Stories circulate about creators who turned short videos into seven-figure businesses, coaches who built empires from a laptop, teenagers who monetized memes. The narrative is seductive. Create content, build an audience, monetize attention. Simple. But simplicity in theory often hides complexity in reality. What most people see is revenue screenshots. What they do not see are margins, expenses, volatility, and survivorship bias. For every viral success story, there are thousands of creators earning little to nothing despite consistent effort. The distribution of outcomes is extremely uneven, but the feed amplifies the top performers. This creates a distorted perception of probability. When you scroll daily through visible wins, your brain begins to overestimate how common those wins are. You assume that if you try hard enough, success is statistically likely. In reality, attention markets behave similarly to entertainment industries. A small percentage captures the majority of rewards. Even among those who succeed, income is rarely stable. Ad revenue fluctuates with market cycles. Brand deals depend on engagement trends. Affiliate income changes with algorithms and platform policies. Entire monetization models can disappear when a company updates its rules. A creator might earn exceptionally well for 1 year and struggle the next. This is not inherently wrong. Volatility exists in many industries, but social media often markets itself as freedom without highlighting instability. There's also the hidden cost of constant production. To maintain growth, creators must publish regularly, sometimes daily, sometimes multiple times per day. Content must be relevant, engaging, and optimized. Trends move quickly, formats evolve, audiences shift preferences. The creative process becomes industrialized. Instead of building assets that compound quietly, many creators are building momentum that must be continuously fed. Momentum is powerful, but it is fragile. If you stop posting, engagement declines. If engagement declines, visibility drops. If visibility drops, monetization suffers. The system encourages perpetual output. There is rarely true passive income. There is active relevance maintenance. This is the monetization mirage. From the outside, it looks like leverage. From the inside, it can feel like treadmill economics. Constant movement to maintain position. And then there is diversification risk. When your primary income depends on one or two platforms, your financial security is tied to companies you do not control. A change in content guidelines, a shift in recommendation logic, or an account suspension can dramatically impact revenue. Unlike traditional business ownership, where you control distribution channels, here distribution is centralized. You are not just building a brand. You are building within a system. Some creators eventually convert attention into more durable assets. Businesses, products, equity investments, intellectual property. Those who do often stabilize, but many never transition. They remain dependent on views. Views are not equity. Engagement is not ownership. Followers are not assets unless converted strategically. Another overlooked element is lifestyle inflation. As income increases, lifestyle often expands publicly. Better equipment, nicer homes, travel for content, team members, editors, managers. What begins as a lean operation can evolve into a high-cost ecosystem. If revenue slows, expenses may not adjust as quickly. The public image of success can become expensive to maintain. Ironically, the pressure to appear successful can increase financial risk. When your brand revolves around growth, luxury, or high performance, you may feel compelled to sustain that narrative even during slower months. This is where the trap becomes psychological again. You're no longer just earning money. You are performing prosperity. And performance limits transparency. It discourages open conversations about volatility, burnout, or financial planning. Many creators privately experience inconsistent cash flow, but publicly project stability. The audience sees the highlight. The creator manages the uncertainty. None of this means social media cannot be profitable. It absolutely can. It has created unprecedented opportunity for individuals worldwide. But opportunity without strategy can become illusion. The monetization mirage convinces you that attention automatically converts into freedom. In reality, attention must be structured, diversified, and protected to become durable wealth. Without systems, savings, investments, ownership, skill depth, income remains exposed to forces beyond your control. The real question is not whether social media can generate money. It is whether that money is building something stable behind the scenes. Because if the revenue only exists as long as the feed favors you, then you are not financially free. You are temporarily amplified. And temporary amplification is not the same as lasting success. You've likely understood the illusion. Social media promises income, influence, and freedom, but much of it is surface level. Let's expose the human cost hidden behind the highlight reel, burnout. The social media success trap is not just financial, it is psychological. The constant performance demands, the expectation to stay relevant, and the subtle pressure to keep pace with trends create a mental load few outsiders see. Most creators present perfection, but behind the camera, exhaustion builds silently. At first, energy feels limitless. You wake early, plan content meticulously, study analytics, engage with followers, and iterate rapidly. The adrenaline of initial growth masks the toll. When views surge and comments explode, dopamine floods the brain, reinforcing the behavior. You feel unstoppable, validated, indispensable. But human systems are not designed for indefinite acceleration. Sleep is shortened. Boundaries blur. Work merges with life. The always-on culture of social media rewards speed over reflection, virality over depth, and quantity over sustainable quality. Over time, the constant pressure triggers stress responses, fatigue, anxiety, and diminishing focus. Burnout doesn't announce itself suddenly, it arrives quietly. Productivity slows, creative ideas feel repetitive, motivation wavers, you compare yourself more aggressively to peers, exacerbating the psychological trap. The algorithm continues to demand output, your audience continues to expect engagement, the gap between external visibility and internal energy widens. Another layer of stress comes from public judgment. Every post is evaluated, every opinion is scrutinized, and every misstep can be amplified. Controversy spreads faster than nuance. One small mistake may lead to backlash, and the fear of error begins to dictate content decisions. Creativity becomes constrained by caution, spontaneity is replaced by formulaic posting, and authenticity is compromised. Simultaneously, personal life can start to erode. Relationships take a back seat to content schedules. Social interactions are filtered for optics. Free time feels like wasted opportunity. The very platforms that promised freedom begin to anchor your daily existence, making escape psychologically difficult. Financial stress adds another dimension. Even for creators earning well, the volatility is relentless. One algorithm tweak, one demonetization, one declining trend can cut income sharply. High visibility can encourage lifestyle inflation, nicer equipment, higher production costs, travel, and team management, which amplifies risk during lean months. Pressure mounts to maintain appearances even when resources fluctuate. Over time, many creators realize that the personal cost of chasing attention rivals the potential gains. Health, relationships, and mental clarity, all foundational elements of lasting success, become secondary to metrics. The spotlight that once promised validation becomes a source of invisible captivity. Yet the trap persists because the rewards, when they appear, feel powerful. Occasional virality, sudden spikes in followers, and temporary sponsorship deals reinforce the cycle. The mind equates short-term peaks with long-term progress. You work harder to recreate the dopamine surge, and the treadmill spins faster. The irony is stark. The platform designed to amplify you often diminishes your well-being. The very success you pursued as freedom transforms into obligation. The system doesn't punish you personally. It simply optimizes for attention. Your human limitations, however, are not part of the algorithm's consideration. The solution is not abandoning social media entirely. Many creators thrive sustainably. The key is creating systems that protect energy and sanity while leveraging opportunities. Boundaries, diversified revenue streams, long-term planning, and compartmentalization of attention are essential. Without them, the spotlight that seems like a reward slowly becomes a cage. Success, visibility, and income are real, but the personal cost can quietly overwhelm. By now, the full picture is clear. The social media success trap isn't about laziness, lack of skill, or poor ideas. It is about structural incentives, psychological hooks, and hidden costs. The first principle of liberation is awareness. Simply knowing how the trap works changes the game. Recognizing that your ambition has been subtly guided by attention metrics rather than your authentic goals allows you to pause, reflect, and reset priorities. Awareness is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice. You check your feed less compulsively, question your impulses, and evaluate whether your actions are truly aligned with your long-term objectives. Next comes systems over spectacle. Social media rewards performance, but durable freedom rewards structure. That means building financial stability, diversified income, and scalable skills outside of platforms that can vanish overnight. It means saving aggressively, investing intelligently, and acquiring assets that grow quietly without daily visibility. These systems are not glamorous, but they are reliable and they are controllable. Real freedom comes from control over your resources, not control over how many people like your posts. Boundaries are equally critical. The most successful creators are not those who post incessantly. They are those who define clear limits. Work hours, device-free time, and content planning routines protect mental energy. Boundaries create the space for reflection, creativity, and skill growth. Without them, engagement metrics dominate decision-making, leading to reactive behavior and psychological erosion. Another essential principle is intentionality and attention. Social media is not inherently bad, but using it without a plan leaves your mind at the mercy of algorithms. Curate your feed. Choose accounts that inspire learning, not envy. Engage with content that supports your long-term goals. By consciously deciding what enters your mental landscape, you reduce cognitive load and reclaim focus for deep work, creative projects, and personal development. True freedom also requires asset diversification beyond the feed. Followers and likes are temporary. Intellectual property, investments, and skill sets are durable. Build multiple revenue streams. Develop skills that are portable and scalable. Create projects that compound over time. When income comes from multiple sources, social media becomes a lever, not a lifeline. You are in the driver's seat, not the passenger seat of a platform you do not control. Psychological resilience completes the system. Emotional detachment from metrics, appreciation for slow compounding, and patience and growth help counteract the dopamine-driven urgency that platforms exploit. By reinforcing intrinsic motivation over external validation, creators can make choices based on long-term value instead of immediate attention spikes. The focus shifts from chasing virality to building impact. Finally, clarity about your personal definition of success is essential. Ask, what does freedom mean to me? Is it financial independence, creative control, time with family, mental peace, or a combination? The social media success trap often masks these goals with flashy substitutes: followers, views, viral content, and public validation. Reconnecting with authentic objectives ensures that your energy is directed toward outcomes that matter, not just metrics that feel important in the moment. The overarching lesson is simple but profound. Social media success is a tool, not a goal. When used intentionally, it can amplify your reach, income, and influence. When used reactively, it can consume your energy, distort your priorities, and compromise your mental health. The difference lies in systems, boundaries, and awareness. True freedom, unlike the illusion sold on screens, is quiet, flexible, and durable. It is created by combining financial stability, skill accumulation, mental clarity, and thoughtful engagement with platforms. It allows you to choose what you work on, where you live, and how you spend your time, without being enslaved by attention metrics. By the end of this journey, you understand that success is not about constant visibility or viral peaks. It is about control, optionality, and resilience. Social media can be part of your life, but it cannot be the foundation of your security or happiness. Build the system around you, and the spotlight becomes a tool rather than a trap. And when you finally achieve that, the promise of social media no longer dictates your ambition. You are free to use it on your terms, not the algorithms. The trap has been recognized. The path to durable success is clear, and your life becomes a system that moves with you, not a highlight reel that confines you. You see the truth, you reclaim control, and real freedom begins.